Hey, everybody, how's it going? Matt Yake, the Helpful Home Inspector, back at Hartford, Wisconsin for the live show this Saturday. And today we have a special guest, John Gorde, and we got our co-host, Mike Severson, in here. Today we got a lot of good stuff going on, but as always, if you do want to listen to the show and you're not able to tune in today, you can catch the show as our replay, which will be throughout the week. We also have the podcast that'll be up on Monday, and you get that anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Spotify, iHeartRadio, all over the place. Alexa, play the Helpful Home Inspector podcast. We got lots of great stuff for you today. Today, we are going to get into furnaces. We're going to talk a little bit about flush or not to wipe or not to wipe. Aha, that's going to be a good one. But we're also going to talk about joist hangers, and we're also going to give you a little bit of information about how to be safer in your home. So we'll get into that at the end. All right. So today we were scheduled to have Bob Gorde. I know I advertised that last time, but Bob is out ill today. He's not feeling well. I don't know if it's sick. He's more injured.
Yeah.
He's on injured
reserve. His neck has been bothering him.
Yeah, his neck's been bothering him a little bit. So he's out on injured reserve today. Bob, we wish you nothing but the best. Hopefully you get back, and hopefully you're watching this. You can get on there and say hi if you want. Oh, Kate's on there. Your mom's watching,
yeah,
dude. Like, check out that. Hey, how's it going, Kate? And Bob is hopefully going to make it back here. We have another one coming up in a couple weeks with Rick Myers from Myers Electric going to come in. We're going to talk about electrical safety in your home. So that'll be a good one when Bob gets back and feels better. But let's get right into this. The defect of the week. So the defect of the week is something that I came across this week, basically dealing with joist hangers. And when you talk about structure in a home, the joist hanger is a very important piece. Okay, so this is a joist hanger. This is kind of what we're talking about. Okay, and when you don't install them properly, you don't have them in a house installed properly, you can have structural movement, structural shifting, all kinds of issues, which we've seen a few times.
Numerous times.
Yeah. And the joist hangers, they come in all different shapes and sizes. They can be used for TJIs. They can be used in regular lumber. They can be used in double up lumber. They can be used in lamb beams. They can use all kinds of stuff. And metal brackets and stuff just really make that stronger, tighter, ties it together, holds things, you know. And, let's get to our video here that shows you where we're lacking a little bit. Tammy, I'll switch over to the computer for me. Hey gang, Matt the Helpful Home Inspector coming in from a house up in Kewaskum, Wisconsin, and today we're talking structure. So they have a joist and system here with 2x10s. Basically, they wanted to have an area where the joist did not continue all the way through because of the plumbing that's here. Fine. Let's transfer the loads around. They got the idea, all right? However, when they went to attach these things to each other, they didn't do it properly. So these are really old type of joist hangers. Shouldn't be using these anymore. And you can see they didn't even fill all the holes. Back then, they still had to fill all the holes. So we need to do joist hangers on here that have the straps underneath it. You can see that some of the joists have already fallen down a little bit. Here we have a double up that's fallen down. You can see there's a gap at the top up there. Here they should have had a double up joist hanger installed here. Pretty easy fix. It's just a matter of getting the right joist hangers to put in this area to secure the structure. Upstairs, the floor's a little bit unlevel because of this. So easy fix, though. Joist hangers aren't very expensive. All right, so joist hangers are essential. As you can see there, the floor's actually dropped. That was about a half-inch gap there, you know. And back in the day, all they would do is sometimes they would slam 3 nails in the end of the board and call it a day, you know. Mm-hmm. And you can imagine over the course of, that was a 50s house, so 70 years, there was some shifting, moving. The nails are pulling a little bit and stuff like that. So what they had in that house was equivalent of this, which is basically an angle or corner bracket that we might use in construction, where we have 2 boards that are making an angle to each other, where a joist hanger wouldn't necessarily be correct. This is just a different type of angle corner bracket, okay? And that's all that they were using back then. But the rules are, no matter what bracket you're using, all the holes need to be filled, right? And that's basically how the device is engineered. Now with a joist hanger, you can imagine this goes up against the one piece of wood, the other piece of wood slides down into there, and then there's holes on both sides to tie into the joist that goes out, but we also are tying into that base here as well. So really an essential piece. They come in all different shapes and sizes, but they're an important piece. If you're doing any structure construction in your home, you should involve metal brackets and joist hangers. All right.
Can I get that from you real quick?
Yes, sir.
So I was over the summer. I was actually helping my parents rebuild their deck, and the joist hanger was attached to the house. Here, all the holes weren't filled, but they never screwed in the actual joist that sits in here. So no screws going into the side of it holding it to the house. So as the deck settled on the end, it actually pulled that joist away from the house itself. So there was anywhere from a 1/2 inch to, an 1.25 inch gap in between this end joist here and the house. So that's why you're supposed to put nails, put screws in all of the holes.
Yeah, nails or screws. So there's different products. So this is a joist screw. I don't think it looks a heck of a lot different from a regular screw, except for that thicker head on there. But they also have joist hanger nails. Now, building code says you have to use a product that's designed for joist hangers. They do make a nail gun version of the nail that you can use for putting it in. It's got a little guide tip on there that you put right in the hole, and it slams it in there. But either way, whichever way you like, I enjoy this. I like using the screws better because I find when you have two pieces of wood like that, getting a hammer in there just right, you're always just so hard,
Impacts make it so much easier.
Oh, and fast.
I mean, you throw a Torx head on there. Yeah. I mean, if you needed to for whatever reason to get it off, you can, and you don't have to sit with a pry bar or a cat's paw and get the darn thing out.
Tammy?
And screws always hold better.
Oh, yeah.
It seems, anyway.
So here's a picture of what one would look like installed. You can kind of see what that looks like, and you see here they filled all the holes and stuff like you're supposed to. This is actually a deck application. You can see the deck boards up on top. The screws and nails, whatever trips you trigger, the only thing is there's a big difference in cost. So here you have maybe 50 screws-ish, what did you say about there? $16. Here you got, I don't know, maybe 100 nails? $4. Bought them yesterday. Big difference. When you're talking about how many holes are in that thing. 4,
5, 6, on one side,
12 holes. That's a lot of holes. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of holes to fill, and you're talking about a lot of fasteners. So maybe if cost is the big thing for you, nails might be a better option, but it's gonna take a heck of a lot longer just because they're so hard to nail in. It's hard to get your hammer in there just right to nail it.
I like the sound my impact makes.
I like the sound my impact. Well, John likes to nail things. So, as far as the joist hanger goes, you guys, whichever way you're doing it, doesn't really matter. The main thing is that you're using it. Okay.
And these are cheap. I mean, for not putting it in that application, I mean, they saved. Let's say it's $10, and they're a contractor that's going to get them in bulk, so it's going to be, even cheaper than that. Yeah. So
and then down the road too, like you're saying the floor upstairs wasn't level and everything, and that just creates so many problems too.
Yeah, and you could theoretically use the joist hanger to help hold, push things back into place and stuff. If you're using screws, you angle the screw up and it helps pull it up tighter. So lots of options there. Angle brackets, they have a use, but they're not to replace joist hangers. Putting one on each side does not replace a proper joist hanger. Plus, it's going to be more expensive. This angle bracket is about the same as this joist hanger in cost.
But then you need one on both sides.
You have to use two. Yeah, it wouldn't make any sense. So if you're not saving any money,
and then you got 16 nails or screws versus 12.
So you're using more fasteners than two. Yeah, for sure. All right, so that is our defect of the week. Let's get into our co-host question of the week. So, Mike, John put a mini split in your basement.
Yeah.
Mini split's a heat pump, and you had that installed because you remodeled the basement. It's a fairly large basement. I mean, probably...
Yeah, it's 1,000 square feet.
Is it 1,000 square feet?
Yep.
Thoughts?
I like it. So we got two 9,000 BTU heads down there, one in the big space, one in a smaller space right when you get down to the steps. If you know anything about heat pumps, they lose efficiency as it gets colder outside. But even on the coldest days, I mean, it still keeps that basement toasty. I mean, we keep it at about 65 when we're not down there, and it keeps up with that no problem. We get down there, we can crank it on high, and one head or both heads, and the whole basement is heated up in less than 10 minutes.
Big difference in your electric bill when you're using it, or no?
There is a difference. Yeah. I mean, during the winter time, we don't use it during the summertime really at all. I'm going to try it this year just for dehumidification, but we really haven't used it during the summertime because it stays nice and cold. It's a basement. The plan is to use that a little bit more, but it's probably during the winter time, if it's super cold, it's probably about $75 more a month, something like that. I mean, and that's depending on how much we are down there,
And
so
the heat pump is just using electricity. There's no fuel source. There's no gas, no propane, none of that other than the electricity, which is going to operate pumps essentially. Just pumps
compressors and a couple fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just moving the liquid and stuff.
Did we have one on heat pumps already?
No, we talked about heat pump water heaters one time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we haven't had heat pumps yet.
So the mini splitter heat pump that we're talking about, the one that I have can heat or cool, and it's just because of a reversing valve in there that'll actually reverse the flow of refrigerant to either produce heat or cool air. So that's basically
like
what we're
an
talking
air conditioner
about.
working backwards.
And then there's a head on the wall that is basically basically a point of use head that is literally just for the room, and it distributes that heat. So
Yeah.
A lot of different styles out there too.
Oh yeah. A lot of people, you'll recognize them by a kind of a white canister on the wall. Will be the most common that you'll see. But they actually can build them into furnaces and stuff too, as like a ancillary.
An extra. Just basically like a coil that's like your regular air conditioner.
Yeah.
I gotta send you the picture. I found one about 4 years ago that was actually a picture on a wall, and the whole face. Did I send you that one?
No, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I've seen them.
The whole face of the picture actually tips out, and your heat comes out of the top of the picture.
Oh, that's pretty.
Because there was a remote in the room. I'm like, where the heck does this? So I just start clicking, and then all of a sudden I hear the buzzing, and I'm like, what the? And I went over to the picture frame, and it was out of that picture frame.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people don't like the head look on the wall. So they give you a lot of different options too. So,
but it's in Mike's application, it's in the basement.
Yep.
And it's still a clean installation.
Oh yeah,
I don't think it looks bad, but yeah, very cool. The next thing we've got is our special guest John Gorde from Forward Mechanical. Thanks for coming today, buddy. John is HVAC technician of how many years now?
It's been about, working and not including school for the first year is probably about 9 years, I think. Somewhere in there.
John's put his time in, and one of the things that I always am curious from asking guys that are in the trades is, having been in the trades for 9 years, is it still a viable thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, and you don't have those school loans or nothing like that, right?
No. I went to school initially, not in a union. I'm a union contractor now, but I paid for that a little bit. It helped for sure. But that wasn't, a huge cost or something like that. So but once you get into the union, you do have 5 years of schooling, but that's all paid for. Yeah. So and you get paid to go.
The union paid for that?
Your employer decides to put you through school if they want to. Yeah. And they pay for that. So
cool. Awesome, man. And on average, like say somebody goes and starts as a first year HVAC technician, what are they looking at after, making as far as wages?
Pay wise. I haven't looked at the scales too much, but I know like pre-apprentice right now I think is around $19 or something like that. So that's like when you first get into the union, and you find a contractor and they start paying you. And then first year I believe is somewhere around like 21 or 22 maybe. Yeah. And then it basically just increases all the way until you finish. First year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, and then journeyman.
Yeah. Well, and that's full benefits. That's pension. That's everything.
Yeah. When you start right away, it does start working towards your pension and everything like that. And then through, I don't know, maybe third or fourth year, like you start to get vision and dental. You don't get all that right away. Yeah. You still have healthcare and all that, but some of it you don't get until a little further along.
Yeah. So cool. I think definitely the trades is still a way to go. So it's a great option, and something definitely you should think about. Like, did you have to get a B average to get paid?
Yeah. Full reimbursement was a B. Yeah, it might be an A now. They change it here and there. Okay. Otherwise, it's like 50%. Sure. Again, the cost of school isn't like tremendous, so if you're a bad student, it's not gonna break the bank. But yes, you do have to get a better grade to actually get full reimbursement.
Yeah, well, and it's not like you're not gonna have somebody there helping you, working with you to and a lot of it's probably team stuff. You're teaming up with.
It's not like they're to get an A is not necessarily hard. It's just how much you participate and stuff like that.
If you put the effort in. If you don't show up, you're not gonna get the showing up is half the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Now, as far as our main topic of today, we're talking about furnaces. We're talking about understanding your forced air furnace. And to kick that off, we're going to do a little bit of a history lesson in forced air furnaces. Now, the furnace history, started out with wood-burning fireplaces and things like that. That was into the 1800s. Then we had wood stoves and boilers in the 1800s. We're still not talking about forced air, air conditioning, none of that kind of stuff until the early 1900s. Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to point out this week is that the conventional furnace, as we know it today, the first patent for that was filed in 1919 by an African-American woman, which in 1919, we got to understand this is pre-civil rights movement, pre-women's movement, pre-everything, and yet an African-American woman in 1919 invented the furnace as we know it today now. There's some varied history about where she went after that. But ultimately, that was where the first patent was filed and stuff. That formed the way to, in the 1930s, we actually went to a forced air where there was pushed air through ducts and things like that. Her initial one in 1919 was basically, it was just the heat was rising through the ductwork to move to the different parts of the house is what her thing. Now, eventually somebody put a fan to that and made that a thing. There was also some varied pictures of her online. This was one of them. And there was another one of this one that's commonly used as well. There's a lady out there that kind of did some research on all this stuff and kind of debunked some of that stuff, but I don't know. Either way, she's an important woman in United States history, and she deserves to be talked about. So now, as we get into our furnaces as we know them today, there's lots of different parts, lots of different moving pieces. Hence, you need an intelligent technician to work hard for you to make sure that you're taking good care of your system, and also that your system is going to make your house comfortable for you. Okay. Now, as far as the place where most people interact with their furnace on a day-to-day basis, your thermostat. Right, lots of different kinds of thermostats. You can get smart thermostats and mechanical thermostats and mercury-driven thermostats. Which is kind of an old school thing. But the thermostats are going to send a signal to the furnace to do what, John?
Give it a call for cooling, heat, fan,
whatever temperature you're looking for. Yeah, the thermostat can just turn the fan on. It can turn the burners on. It can turn the air conditioner start running and stuff. And it basically sets a sequence of activities for the furnace to do to make your house more comfortable. The burners, typical house, 3-burner system for your average 2,000 square foot house, 3 or 4.
Yeah, probably 3 or 4. Yeah, 60 to 80,000 BTU.
Yeah, if you had an apartment or something and it's only 1,000 square feet, it might only be a 2-burner system. Right, really big 100,000 BTU might be a 5-burner, I think, maybe at the most.
Generally, they're 5.
Yeah. And then in that burner, it's going to basically have a heat exchanger, a secondary heat exchanger, and what it does is the burner blows the fire or flame into the tube, and then that tube is insulated from the air that runs over the outside of it, so that the carbon monoxide and stuff can't get into the air that's going to be pushed out to the house. And then that tube goes through a series of pipes that it heats up, and then the air runs over those hot heated up pipes and goes out into the house. Those heated up pipes are what we're talking about with the heat exchangers. I have a picture of a cracked or damaged one here. You can kind of see what that looks like. That's really bad crack. But
yeah.
So here's kind of how the system works. So Tammy's got the computer up there. You can see where we have the blue lines here, where the air is getting drawn back to the furnace as room temperature. Goes in here, goes over the burners, goes over the heat exchanger, comes out as heated air. Now this works the same way with cooling, except your burners aren't running. Your A coil, this kind of angled shape piece here, is actually doing the cooling. And then the blower is what's moving the air. So the blower is on the bottom down here. Usually they're like barrel.
Yeah, it's kind of like a squirrel cage motor is what they call them,
Yeah, so if you can imagine a mouse or a squirrel running around that circle or chipmunk, or whatever in your cage or whatever, getting some exercise, that's what it looks like. But it's got fan blades on it that actually pushes the air out. Yeah. And the nice thing about those is they last really a long time, and that's why they kind of use those, right? I mean,
they really don't. They don't fail too often.
If you use the bladed, where it's got just like the 3 blades on a fan, you wouldn't get as much air volume because this thing has probably 100 blades on it?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, it's a wheel with a bunch of little fins like all the way around it. So
so there's a lot of blades there moving, and then that pushes the air through the ductwork. The ductwork basically is the metal ductwork that you see in your basement and stuff. You have your return and your supply, and then sometimes you'll have extra air intake if necessary for like a makeup air, right? Sure. From the outside.
Fresh air.
Yeah, fresh air intake, that's not always required. I think that's part of the balancing of the system and stuff, right?
Yeah, that and just if people want fresh air, because I don't think residential homes require fresh air intakes.
Yeah, it's an option, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, as far as sizing your system, lots of times they will talk about load calculations. Can you explain what load calculations are?
Basically, like your entire home, like windows, doors, everything that has a heat loss to it. And basically, you calculate your entire home square footage, how windows, doors, all that stuff, and you size based off of all of those calculations.
The windows and doors are mixed into that too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Everything has its own, like, R value and then, like, actual heat loss to it. Myself, I don't do a lot of that because it's more sales and whatnot. But, I mean, we've gone through it in school and stuff like that. So, I've done a little bit of it.
Would you recommend fresh air intake or not? I would be all for some fresh air intake. I'd rather see like an HRV
or ERV
system installed. HRV, ERV systems, we'll cover that in another episode. But basically what it does is it exchanges the air from the outside to the inside, passing it through a baffle, preheating the air as it comes in from the outside. But it's like a constant air exchange. I mean, some of those things can exchange all the air in your home in 3 minutes, you know, depending on the size of them. But, I mean, the more fresh air you get in, the more stale air you get out, the healthier you're going to be in the long run.
A little bit more maintenance with those because they got filters inside and stuff like that, but it's really good. I like them.
Yeah. Well, and if you get into an ERV system, then you can also manage the moisture in the home, too. It can be your humidification and dehumidification as well. So there's pluses. I mean, it's about, what, $1,500 in ERV, HRV?
Yeah, they range dramatically.
Too. Yeah, depending on the size and stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah, Jeff put one in and it was about $3,000.
Really? Well, I guess
he didn't have one, so you had to do the ducting, you had the unit, you know, the wiring, all that kind of stuff. So
and it's all post construction, so that's you have to work around what's all there already and stuff. So
a little better efficiency with that too, though, because like you said, it's passing through and it's heating the air that's coming in, so you're not dumping
it's not
0 degree air.
Yeah, it's
from
not
outside.
like opening your window and just letting fresh air in because then it's not partially heated at all. You're just losing everything, you know? Yeah, for sure. And then as far as the load calculations go, you guys, if you can think of measuring the volume of conditioned air in your home is ultimately what load calculations are for, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah. So how much air do you want to heat or cool in your home? And that's going to determine the size of your furnace. So how many BTUs your furnace and your air conditioner need to be so that they can not only heat and cool your home efficiently and effectively. What happens if you have too big of a furnace?
It's short cycles. It's just hard on the equipment, and basically you're not getting that efficiency out of it.
Yeah.
It'll probably do okay, but it might get too hot, or it'll obviously so short cycling. It'll just come on.
Yeah, and that extra wear and tear.
Yeah, I had a 1,000 square foot house that had an 80,000 BTU furnace in it. So in order to get it run, they were actually they cut a hole in the bottom of the return duct in the basement. So it's literally drawing from this high off the ground in the basement to get it to run. And I mean, that place, it heated up in about 2 minutes.
Wow. That's twice the size of the basement.
And general rule of thumb for that, when you go into a house, it's my understanding it's about 30 BTUs per square foot. So it's about 30 BTUs per square foot roughly.
I think so, yeah. And that'll probably depend again on like windows, doors.
Windows, insulation, doors, Gotcha.
How much heat loss you have.
Sure.
Yeah. Now, as far as general maintenance go, general maintenance is what I would say every person should be doing at their house, not what an HVAC technician does. That's going to be your annual, semi-annual maintenance that you get done, right? What are we looking at besides, changing your filter?
Basically is filter change for residential homes,
Change your filter, vacuuming it out?
If you want to. If it's really dirty, generally, like most homes, if it's a relatively clean house, like it doesn't get that bad. That's what your filter's for, and it's gonna take all that dust out mostly. So
sure. So as far as the filters go, you guys, there's lots of different kinds out there, and the thing that we come across a lot is poor filters or filters
too many filters or wrong size filters,
or wrong size or missing filters, or there's a lot of stuff out there. Now, the most common filter you're gonna find is a corrugated paper filter like this. Okay, very good. It does its job. This is what I would always recommend.
That's what I recommend.
Okay?
It's like $6 to $10.
Not very
depending on if it's on sale or not.
I mean, this is a 1-inch
For a
filter.
1-inch, yeah.
You can get a 4-inch filter, 6-inch filter, whatever. And if you want to go with a larger filter, you can have the HVAC technician put a larger box in.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. There's a wide variety of cabinets out there. Yeah.
And the other way you can go is this right here. Now look, you can see me through this thing. If you can see me through this thing, how much stuff do you think is going to stop? Not much. Okay. So definitely look at a paper filter versus your see-through filters. These are cheaper, okay, but they don't do as good a job, and you're gonna have to replace them a lot more frequently.
Yeah. Well,
These ones,
and it says it on here too. So like, here's the MERV rating on it. That's the density of the filter. Yep. So that's. And that's a 10.
That's a 10.
It's a MERV 10. Yeah. So John, it's basically the density of the filter, how much air flows, how fast air flows through it.
Yeah, and like what the particulate it can pull out.
Oh, okay.
So the higher the MERV rating, the denser the filter.
Yep. So when you're looking at the filter, you want a MERV rating generally between 8 and 13. If you get up above 13, you start to restrict airflow.
It's hard, yeah.
And then you have a problem.
Yeah.
And you'd think that, hey, I want to have my filter stop as much as it possibly can, right? But that's not the case. If you stop too much, you're stopping too much airflow, and your furnace can overheat.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
So
yeah, a lot of the furnaces we put in right now, like generally they don't even want 13s or 12s. We try to keep it around 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Just because this is just too dense, and the it's probably not gonna be a dramatic change between 7 to 12 or something like that. So
yeah, well, and everybody's concerned about health. They're concerned about
COVID and
So I get it, but there's other things you can do like UV filters and things like that that can help with some of that if you're concerned about health and germs and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But a MERV too high, when you get into like HEPA filters, or be like like real bio places and stuff, might get into that MERV 18 and stuff like that. But that's not for your residential home. You're just looking to cut down on the dust in your home, cut that and keep your furnace nice and clean and that kind of stuff. With a 1-inch filter like that, what are we looking at? Change?
I tell them every 3 months. Now, if you come to my house, I got a 80-pound Siberian Husky and a 70-pound Retriever. I got kind of like the Wild West over there. I got tumbleweeds running around, and I change mine like every month. I check it, but I generally tell everybody, once a quarter, every 3 months. And then the thicker filters, 4 to 6 inch, I always tell them 6 months. Basically when the clocks change. You can also get them on Amazon, set up as a reoccurring charge, and when it shows up, put the darn thing in.
Filters.com too.
There you go.
Get them in bulk. You can buy like 10 or 12 of them at a time and save some cash that way too. So
just got to remember to put them in then.
Exactly. That's the thing, is remembering to put them in. Quick tip: when you're putting your filter in, take a piece of painter's tape, put a piece of painter's tape on the top and fold it over so there's a tab hanging off, and put one on the bottom. And that way it makes it easy to get in and out of your opening in your furnace. 'Cause sometimes those furnace slots are pretty tight.
Yeah,
they're
hard to get in and out.
Yeah, and some of the more expensive filters actually have thumb holes and things, for grabbing it.
Can I have that filter again?
Which one do you want?
Just the white one. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You can finish that.
No, absolutely. What do you got?
There's also an airflow direction on your filter.
Important.
There's an arrow on it for a reason.
So one side has like a wire mesh so that it doesn't pull the filter basically off of the backing of it.
Yeah.
The
arrow is pointing this way. So what John is talking about, there's a wire mesh on the backside. You can feel it too. Yeah, you can feel it with your finger, and that should be facing your actual fan motor or your burners, like basically the bottom of your furnace cabinet, and the return air is going to be coming through this way, and then it's going to go up into your furnace through that side. Right.
Yeah. If you have it the wrong way, you don't have the extra support. The other side, what John was saying, is it can collapse into the squirrel cage, and then you got a problem.
Yep.
Yeah. How do you feel about electric filters?
They're not very popular anymore. Yeah, they've gone away.
Yeah.
More so like UV lights and ionizers we see now. So.
Yeah, a lot of that for health reasons. Yeah. So electronic filters are. I see it as just an upsell for some HVAC technicians. I don't think it actually does what it's intended to do. And most oftentimes, the electronic filters, they don't get cleaned like they're supposed to. Because electronic filter is supposed to send electricity through the filter and attract everything with static electricity.
Yeah.
Doesn't really work that well, And so but even when it does, it requires cleaning regularly. So you have to turn the furnace off. You got to take it up. You got to clean it out. Make sure it's completely dry before you start sending electricity through it again. And then you got to. That's just the whole process. And really, the electrician is probably making a couple extra hundred, or the HVAC is probably making a couple extra $100 putting it in. But there's really I wouldn't. Never suggest an electronic.
This is just so much easier when 3 months comes, you take it out, put a new one in, throw this one in the garbage,
and it does the job.
It does the job.
Yeah. It's just that's what it all comes down to. As far as furnaces go, there's lots of fuel sources. The most common today is natural gas, right? Mm-hmm. They do make electric furnaces, which are not very common and kind of expensive to operate. They have propane furnaces, which is if you live in an outlying county or something where you don't have a natural gas service, propane works. And most furnaces can be converted over to propane. It's just a kit you have to install.
Just like an oven.
Right?
Yeah.
And then back in the day, there used to be coal furnaces, which is not used anymore. I don't think I've seen them anywhere. We've gone into houses where we've seen coal chutes. Coal chutes where they used to shovel the coal down in the basement or have a separate room, that had black marks all over it, from the rock and coal that was coming in. And then we also have direct wood and indirect wood. Like if somebody had a wood thing out in their yard, and then they basically pipe water through there, right, or glycol or whatever they're using, and then that goes and through a coil in the furnace and acts as the heat exchanger essentially, which would be that indirect. There are still some houses we come into where they have a wood furnace in the basement. You got to stoke that sucker, and not the safest, and I would imagine insurance costs would be up dramatically with that kind of a situation. Plus, if you're burning that much wood, you got to get your chimneys cleaned all the time, and it's a lot of maintenance, a lot of extra things that go into that. How does somebody know when their furnace needs to be replaced or repaired? What's the criteria that you're looking at?
Doesn't work. Generally, like a lot of the furnaces these days are going to be probably around 15 to 20 years, 20 on the high end. But you'll notice a lot of different problems happening. A lot of people replace them just when they're getting to be 15 years old.
They don't want to take the chance of quitting.
Going out in the middle of winter or something like that. So, but usually you're going to have an issue that's going to occur. Secondary heat exchangers are probably the biggest right now. They'll get plugged up and crack, and that'll cause problems. It'll go off on high limits and those kind of things.
High limit meaning like
temperature. So there's a little limit switch that goes inside of the heat exchanger compartment. And if your secondary starts plugging, all of your components of combustion can't get pushed out, and then it just gets really hot in the compartment.
And it trips off that switch.
Trips off, yeah.
You can just reset it though, right?
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. Yeah. Or put tape on it, put tape on the reset switch. Yeah. No, don't do that. I'm just that'd be like taking and putting a nickel in your old fuse that's not working, The not working is the most common thing. And most furnaces these days can be repaired.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you've got to find where's that balancing point where the repair is at a price point that that it makes sense versus replacement. So if you're talking about buying and installing a brand new furnace for $4,000, we'll say.
Yep.
Okay. Then what you're looking at for a balancing point, it has to wager in a number of different factors. Age, how much is the repair? If the repair is $400 and the furnace is only 10 years old and the replacement cost is $4,000. Well, that's easy. It's a no-brainer. Pay the $400. Yep. If the furnace repair is going to cost, say that whole heat exchanger unit needs to be replaced, and it's going to cost you $1,800 to replace the furnace, and it's 20 years old.
Yeah, because the next day your blower motor could go out or your board could go.
When as soon as your furnace gets up in age, you could be just chasing this rat nest of problems, and you could be spending $8,000 fixing your furnace when you could have just replaced the thing. When the first thing started happening and saved yourself some money. Yep. So there's a balancing point. Everybody's balancing point is different. There's no set level that says, yes, you have to replace it. Yep. There are some HVAC technicians out there, not many of them, they don't usually last very long, that are dishonest. They'll be, every time they come out and your furnace isn't working, they say, we need a new one, Yep. But those guys don't stay in business very long, and they usually end up fizzling out. But there's a balancing point. You got to find the balancing point that you're comfortable with. Find out what the new cost of replacement would be versus what the repair is, and base that on your age. How not your age, but the age of your furnace. So, if you're 80 years old, no, I'm just kidding. Okay. But the age of your furnace, if it's nearing that 20-year mark, there's not a lot of life left in it. And if you make a repair, know that there could be a different repair next month. So. Something to consider, and your average replacement's about that $3,500 to $4,500 bucks, right?
There's a pretty wide variety right now. Yeah, I see contractors quoting over $5,000 for a furnace sometimes.
Yeah, well, and a lot of that has to do with the lack of contractors too. I mean, these guys can charge a bunch of money because there's not a lot of guys out there,
Exactly.
And so that's part of a problem that we're having in the trades right now. Going into the trades. So, but with furnace replacement, replacement's what, 3 hours?
Maybe somewhere around there. Yeah.
Now they're usually HVAC technicians will usually, if you bundle your air conditioner and furnace together, make it a little cheaper.
Generally, because there's less work involved.
Yeah, because if you got to blend the old system with the new system, there's duct work that has to
be changed. So if you just do your furnace, well, you got to take that out and do metal adaptions, and then if you at a later date change your AC, well, you got to come back in and do metal adaptions again, where you could have avoided that the first time. So.
And it's a second trip charge, takes a second day, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So there's definite benefits to doing your air conditioner and furnace at the exact same time, but it's not always necessary. If your air conditioner and furnace are only 12 years old and your air conditioner looks in great shape and it's running and working just fine, you could get another 5-10 years out of it, maybe. Okay. But if you did it at the time of the furnace, you might save what, $800, $500 to $800.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah. Probably around.
Something like that. Yeah. So something to think about. But there are, like I said, a balancing point where you got to find the place where you're comfortable with. Okay. That is our main topic of the day. If you have any questions for John.
Longevity. How does maintenance affect the longevity of a furnace?
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously going to help 100%. Like a lot of times people, you come in and do maintenance, it's going to avoid your simple problems, like a flame sensor going out, checking igniters, your trap getting plugged.
Catch problems before they become problems.
Because a lot of the simple calls we get are, a 5-minute. You can come in and be like, okay, it's the flame sensor is dirty, or filters bad. A lot of calls we get, honestly,
it's just the filter.
The filter is just dirty.
Yeah.
So absolutely helps. The longevity of the life of it, it's still going to help it, but it's going to help your more so again, like a service call coming out in the middle of the night or winter,
preventing
like
that kind of stuff.
You're probably not going to get 10 more years out of your furnace. You're just going to save on a $150 call versus
no emergency calls and stuff. No heat outages and stuff.
So that's what I'm hearing. It's basically make it more reliable.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And usually when I'm talking to clients, I'm suggesting an HVAC technician every 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
If you do HVAC technician maintenance have it done on your furnace and air conditioner every 2 years, you're ahead of 95% of the population in the United States. So that's a good thing. Most of the time people ignore it, just like they ignore their roof until it's a problem. Until they're cold, they're not going to do anything with their furnace, which is sad because you could make your furnace, you could kill your furnace doing that kind of stuff. So definitely good maintenance is important. Get a tune-up every 2 years. If somebody's coming out trying to sell you a 6-month maintenance package that they come out every 6 months, you're wasting your money. Okay, that's just somebody taking advantage of you, and you probably want to go find somebody else to work with because those 6-month maintenance schedules are completely unnecessary. As long as you are physically capable of changing your own furnace filter. So I'm not saying if you have a hard time getting on the stairs, go down, try, but
filter, and then even like air conditioning and whatnot, so you can wash the outside of your coil off. People are plenty capable of doing that. Just take a regular garden hose and clean all the grass and
I can't use my pressure washer.
I'll be out in a week after that though.
If you use a pressure washer and air conditioner, you're gonna blast the hole right through the fins and stuff.
And keep dogs away from your air conditioner.
Dog pee can wreck them pretty bad.
The ammonia in the urine basically eats away the outside of your air conditioner. You end up replacing it. So real quick on filters. So I don't know how many times I've gone into a house where the filter looks like it hasn't been changed in like 6 years, and there's 2 retrievers or something that's been in the house, and the unit's just basically shaking itself apart. Well, why is that happening?
Because it can't move any air. It's trying to pull air from anywhere but where it's supposed to be pulling it from, because it's just packed.
Blocked.
It's basically like putting your filter in with the plastic on or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's zero air moving through there. So,
You're not getting good airflow to a certain part of the house. It could be your filter's blocked. Could be a damper that's turned off.
And that's definitely going to hurt your furnace. Like that will, I mean, again, it's going to go off on high limit because it can't move air through there. So everything is getting super hot, and it's just going to, you could get a crack in the heat exchanger. Secondary could crack, those kind of things. That's definitely what happens.
Definitely something to think
once
about.
that fan motor's out of balance, there's no way of rebalancing that.
It's hard.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you can kind of, but it's not really meant to be. Do that. So, but that'll probably just, your motor will probably die before it'll get out of balance.
Gotcha. I got one other tip. He was talking about things that he comes in for service calls all the time. I tell everybody at my home inspection, there's a little light switch, or there should be, on the side of your furnace. And if that light switch gets tripped to the off position, you're not going to have heat or cool air in the house. So if your furnace is running and then all of a sudden it just stops running and somebody was in the basement, like kids, they like to do this like Christmas time.
It looks like a light switch that you would turn off the lights or whatever, but it's not.
Yeah. Check that first. I'll save you $100 to get somebody like John out there. Sorry, John, I'm taking business away from you, but I'll save you $100 to flip a light switch back on.
Would be cheap, I think.
Probably.
These are probably 130.
If it's on Christmas, you're going to be paying an emergency service too, and
Make sure your power's on. Change your filter. Most furnaces have like little LED displays at like the bottom panel, and somewhere in the book or whatever it gives you a pretty good idea of what might be happening.
A code type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool beans. If you have any other questions for John or about furnaces or anything, he's here to answer your questions. He'll be hanging out with us for a little bit. Now, the next thing we're going to get into is the mystery box battle. Michael, you want to grab the mystery boxes? This should be interesting.
Who's doing it? You, me?
I think it's you and me. John can decide who wins the argument.
I don't know how this works.
We're gonna explain. We'll explain.
Here, let me just peek real quick.
No peeking. No peeking. You can lift them up and shake them around if you want.
He's got to guess what's in them, or
no. So basically, the way the mystery box battle works, there's 2 like materials. So it could be vinyl flooring and laminate flooring, or it could be plywood and OSB, or it could be
caulk and silicone.
Well,
yeah, we also had copper versus PEX.
Oh, I wish I would have had that one.
Yeah.
Or
me and your dad did concrete versus asphalt for your driveway.
Okay.
I definitely won that battle. Bob got credit online, but that was just they had sympathy credit for him and his beard, and the fact that he kept talking about his wife. Love you, Kate. All right, so that's you got your pick.
I think so.
You're in. All right, let's see what we've got.
Does he know what's in these boxes, Tammy?
John?
I mean, he probably bought them, but he doesn't know.
You.
Matt does know him. I'm getting to a point where he needs to give me a list, and I have to be the one to put him in the mystery boxes, so he doesn't have a
there's no research that's gone into
this. I see how many note cards you got over there.
Well, that's just this.
So you got to argue your case for what's in your box?
Yes, and why mine is better than his, and he's going to argue why his is better than mine.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we each get 1 minute, essentially.
Right.
So,
are you ready?
You want to go open them up? Let's see what we've got.
I got a do not eat pack.
That's not it. That's just keep that dry in there. There's something in there. I've got a nail.
Yeah.
Mike's got a screw.
A Torx.
That is a Torx bit screw, which is the only kind. I mean
that's really
folks.
What
if you're going to the store and you're buying screws, Torx bit is the only way to go.
Yeah.
If you're buying Phillips, you're buying the wrong stuff. If you're buying flathead, holy cow. Join the 20th century, you know? Yeah, that's bad news. But yeah, and square bit, you want to avoid that too because they get rounded over all the time. You know, they're better than Phillips, but square drive is still, Torx is the way it's at. But yeah, so Mike's got a Torx bit, 3.5-inch screw. I have a adhesive coated 3.5-inch nail, and we're talking framing. So if we're framing which one is better and why. We will give our arguments. If you wish to contribute to our arguments, please definitely share. Mike could probably use a lot of help with his because I know he's going to lose this one. But Mike, would you like to go first or second?
I'll go second.
All right, I'll go first. So nails. The nice thing about nails is I can slam 1,000 of these in a couple minutes.
1,000?
Maybe. Depends on how fast your nailer is and how fast you are. You ever heard of roofing nailer?
You're pretty
Those
fast.
roofing nailers, dude. Those go.
We're not talking about a roofing nailer. We're talking about
a nail. Okay,
all right,
for framing.
all right,
I mean, if I had a framing nailer, I could easily 16 nails in probably more than that if I got going. But I can put a lot of these things in. They have glue adhesive on them. Mm-hmm. They even make them in ring shank and all that kind of stuff that makes them harder to come apart. They can also be put into a basically it's a nail gun that doesn't require a hose anymore. So now we can do it with electric nail guns.
We've had that for years. It's called a screw gun. Go on.
Hey, don't interrupt my time.
Sorry.
So when it comes to these nails, I can put a lot of these things in no time. And they are strong and they do a really good job. They've been around for a lot longer than screws have been around. You know. Plus your screw's going to take forever to drive in. You got to carry a whole pouch of them. They're much more expensive, probably double the cost. Yeah. And they do make guns for them, but they're really not for framing or anything like that. So you're stuck carrying a pouch of them or holding them in your mouth and stuff. I just got a nail gun, bang, 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 bang. I'm done. I can put a whole wall together in no time while you're still on your third screw. What do you got?
That's only if you're shooting them out of a gun. If you're doing them by hand, I bet you this is faster. Because I guarantee you're going to miss.
At least one of the
swings, right? This is a coated...
Who's swinging the hammer, me or John?
This is a coated deck screw, Torx. Like I mentioned, you can put it in with a regular screw gun and impact. And I think this is better because I can take these out very easily and reuse these. That's a one-time use.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
That's a one-time use. And this is going to get the whatever you're putting together a lot tighter than that. It's going to pull it tighter. It's going to hold better. It's you can get them in various different lengths, various different coatings on them, also materials. You can go stainless. You can go triple coated deck screw.
Spin because you get to use a drill.
Yeah,
that's just because you like Mike. No, just kidding. That's Kelsey.
I like the sound my impact makes when it puts them in.
I like the sound my drum makes. You risk shooting the nail through your finger. See, Kate's trying to help you, dude.
She's right. She's right.
It's not like you're a fifth son or something like that.
That's irrelevant.
Yeah, right.
I lost my train of thought. I think it's better. I hands down go for screws over nails anytime I'm doing a remodeling project.
All right,
because it holds better. I can reuse them.
All right. I got it.
That's just my thought.
I like nailing things.
I like screwing things.
Bob's
really, boys.
Really, you're gonna make Bob laugh and his neck hurts. Cut it out. Okay, so those are the arguments, John. You're framing a house or a wall. Which are you going with?
That's tough because I'm kind of biased towards screws. But I would, if framing a house, you're gonna use nails. I mean, the speed and efficiency of it is a lot quicker.
But if you're framing a deck.
No. This is just okay. Framing a deck, sure.
But a lot of times
you said framing.
But he said I won the argument. He already said. Don't try to change his mind now. Your minute is up.
If you're building a house, hey, you're going to use nails.
Your minute is up.
Yeah.
Your minute
but if you're modeling,
stop. Your minute's up.
The screw one.
Screw one.
The screw.
But John was the one that got to pick.
Yeah.
Well,
he said the nail.
Don't let the screw one online. Everybody else is.
I use a screw pretty much 100% of the time though. So
wood will not rot around the screw before the screw gives way.
What's that?
The wood will not rot
around the screw before the screw gives way. I think that would rot around either.
I think the point that's being made is it's harder for the wood to come apart from a screw than a nail. Like oftentimes you see
expansion
the wood
and contraction, then the nails pull out. Because you've never seen that before.
In the wood.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Sorry.
You already lost the argument according to John. You won the audience just because it's like you're like her fifth son. Okay. that doesn't.
I mean,
She said will not.
If you're
Or will rot.
If it was a question for framing a new entire house, you're going to use nails.
Yeah, I agree. You're going to use nails.
There's application for both. Let's
Yeah,
be
there is.
real.
Yeah,
There's a place for each. But when you're framing a house, you're going to be putting in thousands and thousands of fasteners. And in the time that Mike can drive 5 of those, I'll have driven 50 of these.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So there's a big difference in time, and with the new technology, with the adhesives that are built, like they basically coat it in adhesive, and as it goes through the shaft of the. Sorry. As it
goes through the materials that it's penetrating.
As it penetrates through. Oh my God! Stop it. Okay, it gets heated up, and the adhesive activates.
Hold it together.
And holds it together. Yeah. So, and then they got ring shanks and stuff that work with it as well, which is kind of nice because the wood expands. The wood goes away from the rings and then it presses in against the nail. There's uses for both for sure. Yes, I know it's a family show. We're not saying anything inappropriate yet. Okay, so that is our mystery box battle. Hopefully you enjoy that we do this every week as far as comparing two materials or two things that are in construction. That would be good. Now, the something that I know that y'all need to know is wipe or not to wipe. That's the question. Now, I had carpal tunnel surgery a few years ago, and it in order to save my marriage, I decided not to wipe. Now, when we get into that, what we're talking about here is bidets. If you haven't looked into a bidet yet.
I went to caulk and everything else.
No, literally wipe.
Yeah.
So in order to save my marriage, I went and got a bidet because when I had carpal tunnel, I had both hands, and they were both in braces and whatever else, and that was just a difficult thing to imagine doing. So we went and we got a toilet seat bidet. Okay. Now the one we got is a Brondell. They make Toto. There's a lot of different types of brands out there. But if you've never looked into them, something to look into. Not very expensive. I mean, it's a $200 toilet seat. Okay. However, Tammy likes it when she goes to the bathroom and it's nice and warm. Because it has a
heated seat.
Has a heated seat in it. And then the little thing comes out when you push the button on the wall and it sprays your underside and washes you all off and stuff. I mean, super clean, and it doesn't require any wipes. There's, you could get away with using no toilet paper because there's a blower in there that dries you off. It's like a little hair dryer in the. This is good stuff.
Goodness.
Aren't you glad you came for this week, John? This is good.
The main thing is the heated seat in the winter.
Tammy likes
I do have to say that is nice.
That to not have to sit down on a cold seat is nice. I'll give her that. But the water coming out is warm as well, so it heats the water as it comes out. It goes through a little electric instant heater thing. And then it squirts, and then you can move it back with the remote control. You can move it back and forth. You can change the angle and the profile of it. If you're a girl, it does have a frontal wash as well, an option. And it doesn't spray water all over the place. It's just underneath you, and then you just sit there for a little bit longer than you normally would because you got to let the heat dry you off a little bit, But something to think about: to wipe or not to wipe.
So you still use that regularly?
Yeah, not super regular. Like. It depends on what's going on. If something's coming on fast, whatever's the nearest port in the storm, right?
Depends on dinner from the night before.
Honest, I have never used it, but I do like the heated seat in the
She's
winter.
never used the water feature of it because she didn't like I have on my F-150. I have the massaging seats, but it was massaging her in just the wrong spot. The sheet is like. This isn't appropriate. We're not getting massaging seats, Now she finds if she sits in the correct place, it's a nice feature to have on the truck. But she's old fashioned in that sense. But
Kate says it's time to change the subject.
Sorry, okay. But
does she say she's shopping for one already? Oh,
Stop already.
Oh, okay.
So wipe or not to wipe? That's a good question. The next thing we're going to get into is the tip of the week, something your dad has a lot of passion about, and that is smoke and carbon monoxide detectors, right? John's dad used to install smoke and carbon monoxide detectors for a company and had a lot of passion for them. He was at a lot of education things for them and knows a lot about them, and they're important to have in your house. There's an important safety feature. Definitely, you should have a minimum of one per floor. Near the bedrooms or anywhere that someone is sleeping is important. They're mainly a device for when you're sleeping, because if there's, except for carbon monoxide detectors, that's all the time. But smoke detectors, if there's smoke in the house and you're awake, you're going to be probably aware that there's some smoke in the house and you got to take action. Yep. The smoke detector is there to wake you up at night in the event that you're sleeping. So minimum of one per floor. Lots of different options out there. You don't have to spend $800 on them. I mean, those are the ones Bob installed were like $800 things, but they lasted forever.
They lasted forever, and they were very sensitive.
They were very sensitive, and they had a great reputation and that kind of stuff. But if you don't want to spend the $800, that's okay. You can go out and you can buy a $30 one that's got a lithium-ion battery in it that you don't have to worry about changing. It does the smoke and the carbon monoxide detector all in the one. We have a separate video on that on the Helpful Home Inspector Network, so go to our videos stash. We have about 110 videos in there. One of them is about smoke carbon monoxide detectors and how to choose the right one and how and where you should be installing them. And there is different types. There's different types of
and for someone who has experienced a house fire and lost an entire house fire, definitely getting smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors will save lives.
Yeah.
And last time we had smart technologies we talked about. They do make a smart smoke detector. This is a smoke carbon monoxide detector from Google Nest. These are about $200. So they're kind of on
they
the
talk to you
side.
too, and
they
tell
talk
you that the test is going to be loud.
Yep. You can get them to talk in different languages.
Nice.
So you can do it in Spanish, and there's a couple of other ones. But yeah, so kind of cool if you really want to spend some money on it, but not necessary. If you don't want to spend the money, that's okay. You can still go out and you get that $30 one that's going to do you good. Also, if you can't afford them, you can go to the fire department, and they will probably give you some for free. Okay, so definitely something to get taken care of in your home.
Yeah, and the battery should be, the device should be checked once a month, not only when you burn garlic bread or your pizza in the oven. Batteries changed every 6 months, and all units should be replaced between 7 and 10 years. And on the back of the unit, it says when it was manufactured, there's a little sticker, or it's printed on it, of when it was manufactured, and you should be replacing those. So even the hardwired with the battery backup need to be replaced. A lot of people don't know that or understand that. They still need to be replaced.
Yeah, and with the batteries, if there is a 10-year lithium-ion battery in it, you don't need to change that one.
Yeah,
that's a sealed
still
system.
test them.
Yep, still test them. But the battery after 10 years, the thing has an automatic thing and it starts going crazy. The only way to stop it is to throw the thing away, forcing you to replace it. The National Fire Safety Commission does say that smoke and carbon monoxide detectors that are older than 10 years only work 50% of the time. So that's a gamble that I don't want to take. Go out and spend another $30 after 10 years. So good investment in the safety of you and your family. So go take care of yourself, take care of your family, put those into your home. All right.
For the cost I spend on coffee throughout the year, you can buy
right.
some good smoke and carbon monoxide detectors
throughout the week.
Hey.
Starbucks boy?
No, today was
okay.
Quick Trip.
Okay. So today was Quick Trip.
That's because he was running behind.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, he would have stopped at Starbucks for sure and spent $8.
All right.
So, sorry, we don't want to beat up Starbucks too bad here. Now, next week we have Andy Builder coming in, and we're going to also have a special guest from Resistance Exteriors, Tom and Caitlin Cutts of Resistance Exteriors, and we're talking about choosing the right roofing material for your roof. Lots of different types of roofing materials out there. Tom and Caitlin Cutts from Resistance Exteriors are going to come in and talk to us. If you have a question you'd like us to make sure to talk about next week, you can go to our website, helpfulhomeinspector.com, and you can put that in to make sure that we add that to our agenda to address for you. And then we also have two subtopics. One, we're going to talk about the 5 most expensive defects you could we find in homes generally. And then we're also going to have another toilet related one, to flush or not to flush. I know this one was intriguing for you. Wait till next week. It's going to be even better. But lots of good stuff coming at you next week. Hopefully you'll be tuning in every Saturday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. If you missed the show this week, make sure you catch it on the replay, which will be out this week. And then we'll also have the podcast up on Monday. Like us, subscribe to us, help us out, people. We're growing this thing. We got 160 some subscribers now. Let's hit 170 by next week. All right, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. Share it with your family and friends. There's lots of good information that we present to help you better maintain and take care of your home. We bring in the experts and stuff to help us with that. Thank you, John, for coming out today. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Forward Mechanical. If you're looking for some HVAC technician help, definitely give them a call. You guys do mainly commercial, but residential as well?
We're trying to be a commercial company, but we do quite a bit of residential right now too. So,
all right, awesome. Look them up. We'll put their information on our website so that you can find them there if you would like. But otherwise, we'll see you guys next week with Andy Builder on the live show here at the Helpful Home Inspector Network. Remember, the better you take care of your house, the better it's going to take care of you.